It was supposed to be a calm and cheerful morning on Lorraine, the popular British talk show hosted by Lorraine Kelly. The audience was buzzing with excitement. After all, the legendary Sir Elton John was set to appear live to promote his new charity initiative and discuss his upcoming documentary. But what began as a light-hearted interview soon spiraled into one of the most shocking on-air clashes in British television history. As the cameras rolled, Lorraine welcomed Elton with her signature warmth. "Sir Elton, it's such a joy to have you back. How are you, darling?" she said, smiling. Elton, dressed in a deep purple suit and wearing his signature round sunglasses, smiled politely. "I'm good, Lorraine. Busy as ever, but happy to be here." At first, everything seemed fine. They chatted about his recent performances, his foundation for AIDS awareness, and his plans for semi-retirement. But then Lorraine shifted the tone slightly, and that's when things began to crack. "Sir Elton," she began carefully, "you've always been outspoken about the music industry. Lately, there's been talk that you've turned down several collaborations with younger artists. Some people say you've become, let's say, a bit selective." Elton's smile faded. "Selective? Lorraine, I've earned the right to choose who I work with. I'm not here to babysit pop stars who can't sing live." The studio fell silent for a moment. Lorraine tried to diffuse the tension with a laugh. "Oh, come now, Elton, you've always been the rebel. But surely there are a few new artists you admire." Elton leaned forward. "I admire talent. Real talent. But the industry today is filled with people more concerned about followers than music. And when I say that, everyone calls me grumpy or out of touch. I'm just honest." The audience gave a few awkward laughs, unsure whether to clap or stay quiet. Lorraine, ever the professional, kept her composure. But she wasn't ready to back down. "I understand that, but don't you think it's a little unfair to dismiss an entire generation of musicians?" she asked. "Some of these artists grew up inspired by you. Don't you think your comments could discourage them?" That question hit Elton the wrong way. His jaw tightened. "Lorraine, I don't need a lecture on kindness. I've spent my entire life helping young artists and charities, while the industry eats them alive. Maybe if more people told the truth instead of sugarcoating everything, there'd be better music today." Lorraine's eyes widened slightly. "I'm not trying to lecture you, Elton. But Elton interrupted, his voice rising. "You just what? Want to twist my words for headlines? I came here to talk about my charity, not to be painted as some bitter old man." The control room started flashing red. The producer in Lorraine's earpiece whispered, cut to break now." But before she could, Elton stood up. "Maybe next time, invite someone you actually want to talk to," he snapped, removing his mic. Lorraine, visibly taken aback, tried to calm the situation. "Sir Elton, please, we're live." But he was already walking off stage. The audience gasped, some whispering in disbelief as the legendary musician stormed past the cameras. The screen quickly faded to the show's logo, and they went to an early commercial break. Behind the scenes, chaos erupted. Producers scrambled to reach Elton's team, hoping to convince him to return for an apology segment. Lorraine, sitting alone on the sofa, looked both shaken and frustrated. When they returned from the break, she addressed the viewers directly, maintaining her trademark poise. "Sometimes, live television can be unpredictable," she said gently. "We wish Sir Elton all the best with his new project." Social media, however, exploded within minutes. Clips of the argument began spreading across Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. The hashtag Elton vs Lorraine shot to #1 trending in the UK. Opinions were fiercely divided. Some defended Elton, saying he was right to call out the shallow state of modern pop music. Others criticized his behavior, calling it disrespectful and arrogant. Later that afternoon, a source close to Elton told the press, Elton felt ambushed. He agreed to discuss his foundation and personal journey, not his opinions on today's artists. He left because he felt misunderstood. Lorraine, meanwhile, remained silent for the rest of the day, refusing to comment beyond her brief on-air statement. But those who worked on the show said she was deeply disappointed, not because of the clash, but because she'd long admired Elton and didn't expect the interview to end like that. That night, Elton posted a cryptic message on his Instagram. Greater than, "Sometimes honesty doesn't make you friends, but it keeps your soul intact." The post got over 1 million likes in an hour. And while some believed the feud would die down in a day or two, insiders hinted that the fallout was far from over. Rumors spread that ITV executives were reviewing the segment, and that Lorraine herself might address it again the following week. One thing was certain: after decades of interviews, Lorraine Kelly had never seen anything quite like this. And for Elton John, who had faced critics and controversies all his life, this clash might just be another battle in his long, unapologetically fiery career. The next morning, British headlines screamed in bold letters: Elton explodes on live TV. Lorraine left stunned as Sir Elton walks out. Every breakfast table, radio show, and online feed was buzzing about the dramatic fallout between two of the UK's most beloved personalities. Lorraine Kelly, known for her calm, motherly composure, opened her show the next day with a brave smile. "Now, I know many of you watched yesterday's interview," she began softly. "It wasn't how we planned it to go. I've always admired Sir Elton, and I still do. But live television is unpredictable, and sometimes emotions run high." Her tone was diplomatic, but viewers could sense the tension behind her gentle words. The clip of Elton storming off had already reached millions. Some people accused Lorraine of being too pushy, while others said Elton completely overreacted. Meanwhile, Elton John's team was in damage control mode. His publicist released a statement that afternoon. Greater than, Sir Elton John regrets how abruptly the interview ended. He felt blindsided by unexpected questions that diverted from the charity work he came to promote. He wishes Lorraine and her team all the best. It was polite, but distant. The message didn't include an apology, and it left fans wondering if the legendary singer had any plans to reconcile. However, things took another turn when Lorraine's producer, James Hollis, spoke anonymously to the Daily Mirror. He claimed there was no trap. The questions were sent to Elton's PR team in advance. "We were told to avoid certain personal topics, which we did." The segment about young artists was part of his planned talking points. Lorraine was just doing her job. That quote hit the internet like wildfire. Suddenly, the narrative shifted. Critics began accusing Elton of being too sensitive, and hashtags like #Team Lorraine started trending alongside #RespectElton. The following weekend, Elton attended a private event in London for his Rocket Foundation. Photographers shouted questions as he walked the red carpet. "Sir Elton, will you go back on Lorraine's show?" He paused, smiled wryly, and replied, "Only if she sings Rocket Man with me next time." The crowd laughed, but some sensed the sarcasm. Behind the scenes, though, sources close to both stars revealed that producers at ITV were secretly trying to arrange a reunion segment, not just for ratings, but to mend a relationship that had spanned decades. Lorraine and Elton had shared many interviews over the years, some deeply emotional, especially when Elton opened up about his battles with addiction and his journey to fatherhood. A week later, Lorraine extended a public olive branch on air. "Sir Elton, if you're watching," she said kindly, "our sofa is always open for you. You've inspired generations, including me. Let's have that cup of tea and talk things through." That moment went viral. Comments flooded in. Greater than, "This is why Lorraine is a national treasure. Elton should apologize, she handled that so gracefully. Two legends, just human after all." 2 days later, Elton posted another cryptic message on Instagram. Greater than, "Sometimes a song needs a second verse to make sense." Fans instantly guessed what it meant, and they were right. The following Monday, ITV confirmed Elton John would return to Lorraine's show for a special conversation. When the day came, the atmosphere in the studio was electric. Cameras flashed, the audience cheered, and Lorraine smiled warmly as Elton walked in, this time in a turquoise jacket and his signature glasses. "Welcome back, Sir Elton," she said. "Good to be back," he replied with a grin. There was an awkward pause, then they both burst out laughing. The audience joined in, breaking the tension completely. "I suppose we both had a bit of a moment," Elton admitted. "I was tired, emotional, and honestly, I misread your question. I've got a fiery temper, always have." Lorraine chuckled. "And I might have pushed a bit too far. You're passionate, Elton, that's why people love you." The rest of the interview was warm, heartfelt, and genuine. They talked about his upcoming retirement tour, his dedication to raising funds for HIV/AIDS awareness, and how fame had taught him humility. Elton even performed a short acoustic version of your song, live in the studio, dedicating it to everyone who's ever had a bad day and learned to start again. When the cameras stopped rolling, Lorraine gave Elton a hug. "No hard feelings?" she asked. "None at all," he replied. "You're still my favorite morning person." Later that day, photos of them laughing together filled social media feeds. The caption on Lorraine's post read, "Greater than, all is forgiven, all is love. Thank you, Sir Elton." Elton reposted it with a wink emoji and the words, "Greater than, peace, tea, and good music, always." The internet exploded again, but this time, with joy. Fans called it the most British reconciliation ever. And so, what began as one of the most shocking live TV moments ended as a touching reminder that even icons can have bad days, and that true respect always finds its way back. In the end, Elton John and Lorraine Kelly didn't just make headlines, they made history.